O.J. Howard got O.J. Howard got drafted off one game, Alabama's national championship against Clemson. That's the only game he did shit in college. Probably the only game he's done shit in his career because he is trash.
Now here comes the part.
He's no better than the other O.J.
Oh.
You better hope the real O.J. doesn't hear that.
Hey guys, it's Terrence Mann. You're listening to Hear the Spear, presented by Noel Game Day. Go Noles.
Hey, what's up? This is Peter Ward, a.k.a. E-Dub, in the house. So we're listening to Hear the Spear, presented by Noel Game Day. Go Live, go Noles.
Hi, this is Charlie Ward, and you're listening to Hear the Spear, Go Noles.
This is Terrell Buckley. You're listening to Hear the Spear, presented by Noel Game Day. No Bloody.
But perhaps better known as the greatest corner to ever step on a football field, Deion Primetime Sanders.
Great Deion Sanders, my brother. What's going on, man? I could wake up to that greeting every day, man. That was awesome.
Hello, Noles fans. This is former Seminole Derek Brooks, and you're listening to Hear the Spear, presented to you by Noel Game Day.
James Wilder Jr. What's going on, James?
Thanks for having me on. SSOD, Florida State or Die, and go Noles.
William Bar None Floyd.
Gentlemen, what's up?
What's happening, guys? This is Logan from Hear the Spear, presented to you by Noel Game Day. We are here this evening. What is this? What day is this? Tuesday evening. We are 3 weeks into this coaching search for Florida State's next hire as their head football coach. Basketball as well into their season a little bit here. Florida State just came out of a game where they earned bowl eligibility. The new streak has started in Tallahassee. We got quite a bit to talk about. Not going to be a long podcast, kind of going to be free-flowing a little bit. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. And as usual, I've got my two favorite friends on here. I can't say favorite, though, because I have some other friends. But I will say my two favorite podcast friends. Sorry, Fisher. Dustin Lewis, our lead writer, and our lead basketball writer, Austin Veazey. What's going on, guys? Good evening.
What a long, drawn-out introduction.
Whoa, can y'all, come on, y'all have been podcasting for a couple of weeks now. Can we split this off? Dustin, you can talk first or ask politely.
Can I speak?
You may speak. Go right ahead.
That introduction was too damn long.
Jeez.
And I was going to say, I'm surprised you didn't announce this as your two only friends.
Oh, damn. That was a good one, Austin. Mic bump. I give that one to you. Dustin's going to laugh for the rest of the podcast now. Well, we won't ever be able to tell because his mic cuts out at a certain decibel amount.
You're too cheap to buy me a new one, so until you do,
don't worry.
This quality is what you deserve.
Hey, the coaching hires helping a little bit. The site views are doing good. We'll be able to send you one in no time. Amazon Prime, baby. Don't worry about it. We're going to get Dustin a new mic. I know even his friends have complained about him and his mic problem. What, you got a text from one of your friends saying your mic problem was terrible?
Yeah, my friend texted me and he said, "Yeah, dude, you should really get a new mic as soon as you can because it's awful." I was like, "Wow."
At least you have true friends that aren't afraid to speak the truth.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I was actually really happy that he went ahead and told me that because I would have just continued on with my shitty mic quality because you two assholes, you never tell the truth.
We say it before every podcast.
Oh man, you know what the funny thing is? That's our only listener that listens to us. So.
That's why he was the only person to reach out.
So that's our only. Yeah, that was the only person that listens. So we got to make him at least happy. So we're gonna get Dustin a new mic as soon as possible. So hopefully for the UF game preview, he'll have a new mic and it'll be grand. And I think Austin's pretty fine. So we'll be all right. I think it's working pretty well. Let's see here. So Florida State had a pretty decent game. What are y'all's first thoughts about that game against Alabama State? Because shoot, I was in the stands. Dustin didn't even go. He didn't even wake up until like the second half of the game. And but Florida State, I had to be there to see it with my own two eyes to see Florida State take down Alabama State. Jackets? What are they? Yellow Jackets?
Something like
Hornets.
that.
Hornets.
Same basic thing.
Same thing.
What's the difference?
Yeah, same thing. They're insects.
They suck just like Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets do.
Yep, there we go. Just put them in the same column. Florida State wins 49-12. Had a pretty decent crowd there. Odell Higgins goes 4-0. What were y'all's just quick?
Sorry, you forgot the Dell.
Sorry, my bad. Well, what's y'all's quick reactions to that game coming out of it?
Yeah, just mainly I felt like you really didn't get to see the whole offense like you normally do with obviously your workhorse running back Cam Akers sitting out due to an injury, which, I mean, honestly, this was probably the perfect game for him to get a break prior to the matchup in Gainesville. And, Jesus. Sorry, an ad started playing.
Oh, no. Fisher was the one that used to have that, so now it's on Dustin. After Dustin made all fun of Fisher for that happening, it's now hitting him. This is awesome. Great content from Here to Spear.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, not having Akers out there really affected the overall game plan of the offense. You had LeBourne, but I mean, it's not the same when Akers has literally carried this unit from the beginning of the season. But it was nice to see some young receivers step up. You had Trayshawn Harrison catch 3 passes for 94 yards and a long touchdown, and he could have had another touchdown, but he fumbled on the deep ball. Gabe Neighbors, we talked about him on the podcast that Logan did not post, but what a beast. Gabe Neighbors, 2 catches, 68 yards, almost had a touchdown. And, yeah, Logan, you didn't post the podcast, but we respect you, Gabe Neighbors. And just
Sorry about that. There was an error that happened. I will never let that happen again. This is a learning process. This podcast is still in a learning mode, but I'm very sorry about that. But we were going to throw in snippets from last week's podcast, so then you will still get the juice from it, just not Dustin's ridiculous comments that need to be removed anyways.
Yeah, but just talking about the defense really quickly before I let you and Austin finally have the floor. I was not happy with the defense. The run defense was all right, but I thought Alabama State's quarterback was completing a lot of passes down the field, like intermediate and long gains, and just the defensive backfield continues to be a travesty with the amount of talent back there. I mean, if it hadn't already been decided, which I mean it was before the season started, that Harlon Barnett didn't need to be in Tallahassee anymore, it was stamped on Saturday with the way that defense played. And just how about Akeem Dent with his 27th dropped interception of the season? I mean, how about it, guys?
Did you have to pick it because of his jersey number?
Oh, honestly, no. They just go hand in hand. I mean, he's legit dropped that many balls. So, I mean,
that seems like it's right in his hands, and it immediately drops no matter what, and you can already expect it to happen. I was watching that live, and I was like, oh, well, Akeem, you should have. Never mind.
I mean, I figured out why he's a defensive back, because he can't play receiver.
And I don't understand that because, watching practice, the first thing they do in warm-ups is do the same drop back, hips, go up and catch the ball. I understand that they're not wide receivers, but man, I feel like linemen have a better chance at it than some DBs. Not only in college football, NFL, they still drop it.
I just imagine the change in narrative. Like, think if Akeem Dent right now, he had 7 interceptions as a true freshman because he had actually caught the passes. I mean, we'd be talking about how spectacular of a true freshman season he's having for Florida State, but instead we're like, man, could this guy even catch a freaking ball?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, well, he would be in the contention for the Jim Thorpe Award, definitely coming as a true freshman.
Well, now that I can finally talk, I wasn't able to watch too much of the game because I had to work for the first half. But yeah, like Dustin said, the defense was pretty disappointing from what I could see. They were just giving up too many yards, too many easy completions, and I know we haven't had the greatest year defensively, but it's Alabama State. We should be able to do whatever we want against them offensively and defensively. But, yeah, I don't have too many thoughts. It's Alabama State. How many thoughts can you really have? We're bowl eligible, though. It's fun.
Yeah, that's really one of the few good things coming out of this game. I would say the other being Ian Kalon Laybourne and Trayshawn Harrison both getting to the end zone. Some young players for Florida State.
I wish Gabe could have gotten in though.
Yeah, I was
Gabe, man.
very upset that they didn't just let him run it in, considering he's a converted fullback. But hey, after the game, to his credit, Gabe
he almost
said,
took it.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, he was down at the half-yard line, but after the game, he said he didn't care about the touchdown. He just wanted to do whatever he needed to do to get the team to win, and it's exactly what he's done throughout his entire career. So, props to Gabe.
No, he cared about that touchdown. You could see it in his face.
Oh, definitely, but he's not selfish. That's one thing you can credit him for.
The only Jimbo recruit that isn't.
Plus, I thought it was a very nice gesture for him to mention Deontay Sheffield getting in on the ground. That was one thing he was very happy about. To be a walk-on running back in Sheffield getting in the end zone, and he understood that he's gotten a chance to score a few times this season, and what that must have meant to Deontay.
Yeah, Deontay's a highly liked individual in that program. Guys support him a lot. He's actually got some talent too. Some of the players will tell you that also, but very highly liked. And that whole sideline, if he would have made just 1 yard, that whole sideline was going crazy while I was watching it in the stands on Saturday. So a pretty cool moment for him, most certainly. James Blackman goes for 13 and 22, 246 yards and 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jordan Travis actually had a little bit of some throwing, I guess you can say, some little dink and dunks here and there. But he rushes for 71 yards, if I'm correct. Or maybe he rushed for 69 yards. My bad. 69. Sorry, I was just putting it out there. But he also had another one long run. He can obviously break some ankles. And to what y'all have been seeing, we only have 2 games of him. This is pretty crazy to think that this guy hasn't been shown to play out under Kendall Briles and when Willie Taggart was here. But this is only our 2nd game seeing him. But Florida isn't Boston College or Alabama State. Do you think, utilizing him against this Florida game is going to give them a big advantage next Saturday in Gainesville?
I don't want to say a big advantage, but it definitely adds a wrinkle to the offense. And, whenever he comes into the game, he's a threat to make a big play at any point in time. And, yeah, I mean, I really feel like that's something that Kendall Briles should utilize in Gainesville, especially it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be extremely hard for Florida State to run the ball in normal sets. So I think bringing Travis in, having the wild cam a little bit, just the different flavors and creating different looks and create some success.
Yeah, and the action he's gotten has been against Boston College and Alabama State, who are pretty horrible defenses. And Florida's pretty good on defense. So to say it's going to help a lot, I think that's a stretch.
Any last remarks from this game? I mean, now we can kind of get into the coaching topic here. I mean, of course, this is the highlight of anything. I mean, a game is being played on Saturday, but really people would rather talk about the coaching situation. But Odell Haggins goes 4-0 now, and people are going ahead and saying that he should be the next head coach at Florida State. Do you think that is accurate or inaccurate right now, or do you think if Odell Haggins and we're just projecting here, if Odell Haggins makes this a game and if he comes out with an upset in Gainesville, is that whenever you go ahead and say that, yeah, this is one of your top 3, if not your top guy to be a candidate to be hired at Florida State to take over the reins in Tallahassee?
Yeah, if he beats Florida, then yeah, he's he's definitely going to be a top 3 candidate if he's not already. And I think he should be given that chance even now, considering what he's already done. But yeah, that Florida game is going to tell a lot whether he's actually a candidate or not.
Or Austin, right now, is he a top 3 candidate right now before heading to Florida?
I would say no. I feel like this interview this past weekend was almost a courtesy interview, just to say, hey, you've been here. We respect you enough to at least interview and make your case. I don't think he's a top 3 candidate as we sit right now.
I feel that too. I feel like on Sunday this was, like you just said, Austin, courtesy interview. But if he comes away with even like a close game against Florida, and that most certainly with the win, then they sit down with him again and kind of go with another round of it, and put him up under the top tier of candidacy for Florida State.
Yeah, I just feel like, if Odell does take this team into Gainesville over a nationally ranked Gators team on their senior night, after everything that this program has been through this season, having to fire their head coach mid-season, the struggles we've seen on defense, that a win like that would signify to me that it wouldn't be the worst decision to put the program into Odell's hands as the head coach. That would be a monumental victory after everything we've seen. And if Bob Stoops hasn't signed on the dotted line and Florida State goes in and upsets the Gators, then I don't see any reason why Odell doesn't deserve a chance. A lot of the other candidates that have been talked about, they just don't really feel realistic at this point, and it's going to take a lot of money to draw them away. So, yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion.
I'm sure, and this is what a lot of fans would question too. There's like a big split between Odell Higgins being hired and then him not being hired because of experience. Does the thought process or the idea of him having a staff that is experienced around him, and then also taking more of a CEO role, but having the staff assistants around him that are well respected and have enough money to pay him, since Odell's would be a little bit lower than other head coaching candidates that are on the board right now, does that kind of, make it more of a realistic chance for Odell being hired? I mean, obviously he's been at Florida State for so long, but he's been under a defensive line role for the whole time during his staffing at Florida State, for the majority of it in Tallahassee.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's got to be the plan. If you roll with Odell, you've got to surround him with elite assistants and then let him run the program. And just thinking, if Odell is promoted to head coach, Riles and Clements are likely going to be retained. Jim Livet is likely going to be retained as possibly the next defensive coordinator. And you have Ron Dugans as well, who is likely to stay in Tallahassee. So basically, it would be Odell's job to revamp the defensive side as the head coach, and I think that's one area he would really be able to help at, offering more of a leadership role on defense rather than just being the defensive line coach.
Yeah, I think if he becomes a candidate, Florida State's viewing him as their Dabo, because Dabo went from wide receivers coach at Clemson straight to head coach. So if he becomes a coach, that's what they're going to be expecting with Higgins. I don't know if they can actually get that, but we'll see. But the CEO role is definitely going to be what has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think we're expecting, Dabo-like results or anything like that, considering Odell's already 52. But, I mean, really, it's just different, because I feel like if Odell was being considered to be a head coach at a different school, it would be a little strange. But at Florida State, it's not as strange because he's been here for almost 30 years, and he's turned down opportunities in the past to advance his career in lieu of the betterment of Florida State. So if it all works out like that, and Florida State can't land Bob Stoops, they can't land one of the other high candidates that they're after right now, then going with Odell isn't the worst choice in the world. And that also allows Kendall Briles to have complete control of the offense next year, which should limit the clashing that we've seen over the last 2 years. I really do felt like Willie Taggart clashed with both Walt Bell and Braz a little bit on their philosophies and how they wanted to run things.
Yeah, it was a little bit unorganized, a little bit. And that's, of course, not what Willie Taggart had planned for whatsoever. But like you said, Odell Higgins, by far, is a household name here in Tallahassee. Most experienced with the Florida State program, coaching-wise, and knows the ins and outs of everything there. It just depends. I think what a lot of fans are second-guessing, what they want to know is taking a head coaching role and how much that plays a part in how he will deal with the program, because there's a lot more than just a position group situation that he's in now. Of course, now he's an interim head coach, but as he was as a defensive line coach, to go into a head coaching role, there is a lot intake with that. But we've heard really good things about Odell Higgins. Obviously, the team loves him. You've seen a lot of support on social media from multiple Noles and even former Noles. And I think he also has support from even staff that are on the team with coaching. Maybe not a lot, but there's some guys on there that are definitely endorsing him as being the next head coach. But yeah, it was reported by 247 that he had an interview on Sunday. So I thought we'd bring that up and kind of see what these two guys thought of it. One thing that happened this week, football-wise, was former wide receiver coach David Kelly is leaving the program. He was wide receiver coach when Willie Taggart came in, and during his first year, he was dropped down and he moved to a more of a recruiting coordinator gig. Ron Dugans, of course, came in from Miami to be the wide receiver coach. But we learned yesterday that from Florida State that David Kelly would be leaving Florida State effective immediately, and actually Mario Edwards Sr. would move to an on-field coaching gig for the remainder of the season. Odell Higgins is the one that put this in place. So, what are y'all's first initial thoughts of that? Because that kind of just came out of nowhere a little bit. Obviously, Kelly has close connections with Willie Taggart.
The fact we had two wide receiver coaches in the first place was stupid. I don't care that he was in a recruiting role. It was stupid and it shouldn't have happened in the first place. And he's gone. Who cares? It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, David Kelly is going to be replaced by Mario Edwards Sr., who has been a defensive analyst in an off-the-field role. Now he'll actually be able to coach on the field and assist with the defensive backs. So really, I think this is a move that Florida State, it kind of helps them moving into the game against Florida and into the bowl game, the final game of the season. Just because they finally have their 10th on-field assistant, they can have a full coaching staff out there, even if Taggart has been fired at this point. It's still Odell and then 10 other assistants, because Leavitt was promoted prior to the Boston College game. So, yeah, I think it's important just to have a full staff out there and another defensive coach. So maybe this somehow helps alleviate some of the problems we've seen in the defensive backfield during games. I don't know.
I know Mario Edwards Sr. is a highly respected coach too on staff. Very, very highly respected. Of course, we know his son with Mario Edwards Jr. He's still with the Saints as we speak, but highly respected guy, not only players-wise, but staff-wise in the program. He's been around for a while, and it'll be interesting to see if he does play a pretty decent role for the rest of the season at that, what would we say, DB role?
Yeah, he'll be helping out with the defensive backs.
Yep. One thing in the NFL, Auden Tate, and we put out a piece just yesterday kind of updating, but Auden Tate went through a scary incident during a game against the Raiders, and it was a neck injury. He was very still on the ground for a little bit there immediately after the play was over, but he was going for a catch, got hit, and he was injured on the play during, like I said, the game against the Oakland Raiders on Sunday. Do you have an update on that, Dustin?
Yeah, it was pretty scary because Tate actually had to be carted off. He was on a spine board, and they were making sure he couldn't move just in case he did have a serious injury to his neck or spine that could have compromised his mobility. But he actually flew home with the team on Sunday night from Oakland. And according to head coach Zach Taylor on Monday, Auden Tate was placed in the concussion protocol with a cervical strain, which is basically just either a small tear or a strain to the neck. So it sounds like he avoided a major injury, and he could be back sooner than later for the still winless Cincinnati Bengals.
I hope he's back sooner than later. Auden's one of my favorites that's come through the program since the national championship team, and I obviously hate seeing anybody get hurt, but especially a former Knoll. So hopefully he's back on the field soon.
Yeah, he taught Tamorion Terry how to play, actually. That's what I heard.
Like he talked him out of play?
He taught him how to play. Like he taught him how to be good.
Oh.
Auden Tate was Tamorion Terry before there was a Tamorion Terry.
If you got a new mic, we would have had to clarify that.
Oh,
well.
And now that blame shifted to me.
But yeah, Tate, he's really been kind of a breakout wide receiver for Cincinnati. AJ Green hasn't played this season, so he's just been another step up on the depth chart. He's caught 34 passes for 483 yards and 1 touchdown in 9 games. Obviously, he'll probably miss some time with his injury, but it'd be pretty encouraging to see him come back during the last couple games, just continue to perform.
I was going to say, I really don't need Auden to be playing that well. I'm a Steelers fan, but he's had a great start to his finally getting a good chance with the Bengals. I think they see a lot of talent with him, and now with AJ Green, he's been out for the entire season. Getting play with Auden Tate has been working pretty good for him.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Great commentary.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys weren't saying anything.
Sorry about that. My mic was muted. I was having to talk to somebody. But anyways, let's see here. So I don't want to get to it because Dustin's a Bucs fan, and here we go. But I think it's time to just talk a little bit real quick. We'll just run like 2 minutes or 3 minutes on it. Jameis Winston in Tampa. On
Great
Sunday,
player.
He has thrown in his last 5 games 13 interceptions.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Just a tiny bit. He threw 4 this last weekend. He threw 2 before that against the Cardinals. He threw 5 against the Panthers, which was a big highlight there, sadly, for him. But Jameis Winston is kind of having a very hard time in Tampa. And you actually cover the Bucs a little bit. Do you still do that or no?
Hell no. Your ass.
But yeah.
Lucky I'm still doing this no game day stuff.
Jeez. Golly. Unbelievable, Dustin. But anyways, the Saints face against the Bucs, and they took good care of Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston did go 313 yards and 2 touchdowns, but had a QBR of 57.1. Of course, that 4 interceptions does not help a lot. He's one of the top leading quarterbacks right now in passing yards in the National Football League. What's going on with Jameis Winston? Is it all his fault, or is it the Bucs organization, Dustin?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's a mixture of things. I would say it's Jameis trying to do too much, which I mean, we've seen it before at Florida State in 2014 when he had to help lead the team to just so many comebacks across that year. Obviously, his interception numbers went up because he was trying to make more plays down the field. And just, man, Tampa Bay's offense sucks. I don't. They have Florida State's offensive line. Like their offensive line is garbage. Their play calling is garbage. They ran the ball 8 times on Sunday. They ran the ball 8 times. They threw the ball 51 times. Where is the balance in that? I mean, eventually the defense just knows a pass is coming every time Tampa Bay walks out there. Of course, they're just going to be sitting back in coverage and prepared for those passes. But yeah, so Tampa Bay's offensive line sucks. They don't run the ball. They can't run the ball if they wanted to. And plus, their receivers are so bad, they're dropping balls into defenders' hands. And I mean, that counts as an interception. That actually happened on Sunday, I believe, with O.J. Howard. I think it was O.J. Howard. It was some idiot on their team. O.J. Howard.
It was O.J.
Yeah, O.J. Howard's done that 3 times this fucking season, where the ball goes off his hand into the defender's hand for a pick. So, I mean, it's just, at that point, how much can you put it on Jameis? But let's talk about the bad a little bit, because Jameis has been forcing it. He's thrown 4 pick sixes this season. That's ridiculous. Every Sunday when I turn on the Bucks, I expect to see a pick 6, and not in my favor. So, yeah, it's been a rough first year under Bruce Arians. I think there's a lot they could do to be making things easier on Jameis, but he's made things just as hard on himself as well. So, it's everybody's fault. Pay the man.
You took O.J. Howard before Dalvin Cook. I appreciate y'all for that.
I was about to say, here comes a Minnesota fan right here that got to have Dalvin Cook.
I mean, we got Kirk Cousins, so I'm not going to commentate on the quarterback play, but we got Dalvin, y'all got O.J. Howard, so.
O.J. Howard got O.J. Howard got drafted off one game, Alabama's national championship against Clemson. That's the only game he did shit in college. Probably the only game he's done shit in his career, because he is trash.
Now, here comes the part.
He's no better than the other O.J.
Oh.
You better hope the real O.J. doesn't hear that. The gloves will come off.
Here comes the part.
He's on Twitter. Just add him.
They're like going back. Once he hits the mark, it's full send for the rest of the podcast. So if you're just now listening or you've made it to this point, I suggest staying up because it's going to be entertaining for the rest. But yeah, we just had to let Dustin get into it there since he's a Bucks fan. He's covered in his past the Bucks before. And obviously, we keep up to date with Jameis a lot. I obviously am a Steelers fan, but I pull for the Bucks mainly because my dad's a Bucks fan, and also Jameis is there. We possibly all could be pulling for the Tampa Bay Bucks even more because they could have drafted Jameis, Dalvin Cook, and Derwin James. But we're not gonna talk about that, right? We wouldn't talk about that for another 20 minutes and be pissed off about that, right? And Austin gets his guy with Dalvin Cook, and I think Dalvin's doing pretty fine for himself up there.
I'm still just looking at these stats. The Bucks running backs caught 7 passes and ran 8 total times. Like, I just don't understand what the fuck are they doing? I mean, what are they doing?
Here we go.
No, I get into basketball before it gets too out of control.
Byron Leftwich.
Like, I don't. What do you have? One sentence to say to Byron Leftwich, Dustin.
Fuck you.
That's a short sentence for a student going through writing and communications at Florida State.
Hey, short and sweet and to the point. That's all. That's all it needs to be. Bruce Arians, he can get the same response.
What's the same response? What's the same response?
Fuck you.
Okay, I just needed that in there. All right, now we're going to go into Leonard Hamilton. Yeah, go ahead and say you're sorry, Mom. Go ahead and do it.
I apologize to you.
Yeah.
I was drawn into this.
It's always our fault somehow. Somehow it's me and Austin's fault all the time. that you have some dirty language in here.
It had to be Fisher's fault, too. The Mississippi really brings it out of Dustin.
And Dustin just sneezed. Or he just killed him. Never mind.
Oh.
Never mind. All right, here we go. Florida State.
Game day after dark.
Hey guys, real quick, we're going to throw you into a segment we recorded last week. The podcast could not upload. We had technical difficulties there, but we were able to salvage a little bit of some of the snippets from it. This segment in particular is where we talked about the senior class, since it was a senior game heading into the Alabama State game this last Saturday. I think you guys will enjoy this segment. We're going to throw that into there now. You might have some laughs and some giggles. Enjoy.
On Saturday, Florida State is going to be recognizing their seniors. This is their last home game of the season. Some highlighted names here is Ricky Aguayo. That will be it for the Aguayos.
It's for me.
Why is that a highlight for you, Dustin?
Because he kills turtles.
There's that.
Call him a plastic
Now
bag.
what about missed field goals?
I don't know, dude. I think the turtle thing might be worse.
The turtle thing's definitely worse.
Yeah, I think that's very something to keep.
His footballs don't kill people, but he kills turtles.
I don't know. With some of the ducks he's hit this season, he might have killed someone in the crowd.
Damn. That was pretty funny there, Dustin.
Thanks, man. I try. I write all this shit down.
I know. Let's name another one. Let's just go in like kind of a trend here. Keith Gavin. First initial thoughts. Saying goodbye to Keith Gavin.
Laquan Treadwell with less blocking.
And I told you, I respect Keith. I can't do it to him.
He's a local product here, yeah.
Local product, all right. He gets my respect. But dude can't catch a fucking football.
That turned quick.
That did turn quick.
If he could put on about 80 pounds and move to left tackle, bro, there's some potential there. He lays people out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he's a big boy. He's been big since high school. He showed out here, that's for sure. With McCullough, he had Franks too.
He should have just been tight end from the start.
He's got that country blood, that Wakulla blood. I don't like those people. I like Keith.
I don't.
You're really putting yourself out there tonight, Dustin.
Wakulla always beat our ass in high school.
Wakulla was tough. Yeah, they had their years early on.
Gavin had one highlight his entire career at Florida State, and he didn't even know if he wanted to do it, and that was the kickoff against Michigan.
Yeah. Seems all mentally for him. The physical
got the attributes
is crazy. Next one, Dontavius Jackson.
Bye. Oh, well. Next.
Yeah, I mean, he's just like a shadow in the middle. I mean, you just never know he's there. We won't know he's leaving, and we won't know if he's still here or not. So.
Levante Taylor is gone after this. This is his last home game for Florida State.
I guess I can't be a fan now, so I won't be a fan later.
Good one. I like that one.
Yeah.
I mean, Levante's pretty much playing on crutches at this point. I mean, he's gotten beaten up ever since last year. I feel like he's just been so plagued with injuries. But
yeah,
he was solid his first season. Or first two seasons, and then last season he was banged up, and you could tell he was banged up. And this year he's been on and off the field, whether it's been injury related or falling out of grace with the coaching staff, who knows? But yeah, those first two seasons were solid, and these last two seasons you haven't seen him much.
Yeah, another 5-star not panning out at Florida State.
Adonis Thomas and Josh Brown.
I think Josh Brown's dad's more famous than Josh Brown is at this point.
He doesn't listen to this podcast. God.
And then Adonis Thomas, why did he even come here? I don't know.
Look, he couldn't Obviously, he had to leave Saban, or he couldn't be physical enough, so he came down to Florida State, and that really shows how much this program has changed.
Yeah.
That shows you right there firsthand. Florida State, you can come over to Florida State, and you want to be chewed out as much as Saban will do to you to actually hit somebody.
I hope Adonis Thomas gets his degree. He's going to need it.
Oh, God.
Let's go through here. Let's go. Maybe we're heading up more positive here. Kyle Myers really hasn't had a crazy consistent plan of playing time at Florida State, but he's had some flashes. But he's always been a small cat out there on the field. He's not that big.
I haven't heard that name in years. He's still here?
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. I'm being 100% honest.
The only thing I remember about Kyle Myers is he randomly got 2 sacks against Boise State, and then I've never heard of him since. Yeah.
Against Boise State?
Yeah, dude, he got 2 sacks against Boise State, and then I never really heard his name again all season. Like, it's just so weird.
I think in Becker. You aren't thinking Becker, are you?
I'm going to be honest. At this point,
I'll look.
I think you might be thinking Carlos. I think you're thinking Becker 15.
At this point, it's possible. I mean, they both are kind of the same player to me. Two reserve defensive backs.
It had to be It had to be Becker because Myers has 2 sacks for his career. His junior
Are you
year,
sure they weren't
sacks.
against Boise State? Oh well.
That really does show you from what we said earlier. Dustin Lewis doesn't cover Florida State football.
No, that just shows that Florida State's backup players are non-existent.
Let's go to Gabe Neighbors, which I think is one that it's optimistic.
Love Gabe Neighbors. How could you not love Gabe Neighbors? He's the
He gets
best.
the clap.
Yep.
He gets the clap, or he gets clap.
If he doesn't get the loudest cheer Saturday, I'm gonna be disappointed in all the fans.
Yeah, that should be it. Well, you're saying that a lot of these other ones aren't going to get louder cheers than Gabe Neighbors?
Ricky might get cheered just because he's finally gone. But other than that, Neighbors will be the loudest happy cheers.
Yeah, the true happiness in the cheers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Gabe Neighbors is a true Seminole, right? He pretty much played his whole career as a reserve backup, switch positions from that's what I'm saying. But he was a reserve backup his whole career. Switch positions from fullback to tight end. Catches a couple touchdowns this year to help out Florida State, and I mean
he's their best tight end.
For a guy that wasn't a star, he did all the dirty work, and whenever he was asked to produce, he did. So props to Gabe Neighbors.
Be interesting to see where he can go. He might fit into some practice squad. There'll be something interesting to keep an eye on moving into after the season and stuff. But I'm very high. I'm close with Gabe and wish him the best. And it's crazy how time flies. It's insane how much time flies. But that's pretty much the highlight of that senior class. They're really interesting one.
I think I saw online that 10 of that original class had transferred away or disqualified,
a lot of it's been
which
dismantled.
Is unbelievable.
A lot of it's been dismantled. Yep, here it is. Florida State basketball. Let's get into some fun stuff to talk about with Leonard Hamilton. His Twitter is doing great right now, killing it. Other than that, y'all tell me about their last game, which was scary. I wasn't able to watch it, but I was trying to watch on my phone and also get alerts on my phone. And y'all were blowing up Crew on our No Game Day group chat, telling me about, oh my God, they might lose this game against a smaller opponent. What happened during that game, and should FSU fans be worried or now?
Western Carolina just came out the gates smoking hot from 3. I think at halftime they were 7 of 14 from downtown, and it doesn't matter who you're playing. If they're shooting that well, you have a very good chance of losing. In the second half, they calmed down, and Florida State fought themselves back in it. MJ Walker was fantastic the second half. We've been waiting for that from him since he was a freshman, and he was the reason we won the game. He hit a step-back mid-range jump shot early in the second half, and then it was nonstop from there. He was hitting pull-up threes, free throw line jumpers. He was doing everything he could to will that team to a win. And then Patrick Williams, down the stretch, scored 9 of Florida State's last 11 points, including a putback off a Trent Forrest sort of layup attempt. And that gave Florida State the lead, and they didn't look back. I don't think Florida State fans should be too concerned. There was a couple of times Western Carolina was definitely left way, way, way too open from 3, as good as they are. And we'll talk about it more later, but the team coming up's just as good shooting as Western Carolina was. So I wouldn't be too worried, but adjustments definitely need to be made for this next game.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch most of it, but apparently I tuned in at the right time. I think I started watching it with about 4 or 5 minutes remaining, and that was right around when Patrick Williams just took over for Florida State and put FSU into the lead. And one thing I really noticed that I like out of Patrick is Western Carolina missed a shot down one and needed to foul, and Williams grabbed the rebound. He had the opportunity to swing it over to Forrest or Vassell for them to be able to shoot the ensuing free throws, but instead he held the ball, got fouled, went to the line, knocked them both down, cool as ice. So that was really cool to see out of the true freshman.
Yeah, and he's got that confidence from the free throw line. He's still perfect from the season, 9 for 9 from the free throw line. So obviously he's right now. You could argue he's our best free throw shooter. Trent's doing great as well, and MJ Walker's above 80% too. So any of those options would have been great. But yeah, it was great to see him say, "No, this is my ball. I'm going to take these free throws and make sure we win this game." And he delivered. He's very calm, cool, and collected. He's not too high. He's not too low. And it was great to see him ball out like he did. He really showed why he's a 5-star.
Yeah, and free throw shooting is one thing that we've kind of talked about early in the season that Florida State has taken a really big step forward at. I mean, you look at the game, Florida State knocked down just 25 field goals to Western Carolina's 27. Seminoles went just 6 of 20 from 3. Western Carolina went 9 of 23 from downtown. But then you get over to the free throws. Florida State, 23 out of 28 from the line, 82%. And I mean, this is really the third straight game that we've seen the Seminoles knock down their free throws at an extremely high rate.
Yeah, they're at 81.8% for the season, which is good to be top 10 nationally. I don't think there's any way it stays that high throughout the entire course of the season, but if it does, it's going to be really hard to beat Florida State in conference play and in tournament play, because as long as they keep getting to the line and keep getting those fouls, if they're knocking them down at an 82% clip, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And yeah, another big key we talked about on the podcast Logan didn't post was fouling. And just taking a quick look at this game, once again, Florida State just only had one player finish with 4 fouls. This time it was Trent Forrest, and they really did a great job of defending without fouling and putting Western Carolina to the line. Coming in this game, what was it, Austin? I think Western Carolina was top 10 in free throw attempts or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I can load up my article from last week real quick.
Yeah,
but there we go.
They were a team that drew a lot of fouls, and in this one they shot just 14 free throws on 18 total fouls for FSU. The Bigs did a really good job of staying out of foul trouble. Raekwon Gray just 1 foul. Malik Osborne 2 fouls. Then you got Balsa 3 fouls in 10 minutes, but
yeah, and Raekwon Gray did get hurt in that game. We're hearing it's a sprained ankle, but he should be good to go against Chattanooga. And I'm reading the article now.
I do not like that. So that's the second Florida State big now banged up. Obviously, you've got Nick still dealing with his calf issue. He played just 4 minutes on Friday night, had 2 fouls in 4 minutes. So he's clearly still not quite healthy. And then, yeah, I mean, if Raekwon is a little hampered by this, that definitely affects Florida State's bigs. That just throws Balsa into an even bigger role.
How you guys feeling about this upcoming game against Chattanooga? Feeling good against those Mocs?
Chattanooga is another great 3-point shooting team. They're shooting, I think it's 37% on the season, which is pretty solid. It's going to be top 100 nationally, I believe. If it's not top 100, it's very close to it. Anytime you can go above 36%, that's going to be good, especially in college basketball. It's going to be a very similar game to Western Carolina. I really think it is. Western Carolina is a bit better inside the arc. Chattanooga is horrible shooting 2-point shots. They're shooting 43% from inside the arc, which is 310th in the country. So obviously it's another key is going to be running them off the line, making sure they're not shooting 3-point jumpers. They attempt something like 25 a game. So yeah, making sure they're running off the line and forcing contested looks at the rim is going to be vital to avoid another Western Carolina type game.
Yeah, and once again, this is another mid-major team where a lot of their depth is at the very top. They run a very short rotation. You have 5 guys playing 24 or more minutes for Chattanooga, just 2 double-digit scorers, and upperclassmen Matt Ryan and David John Baptiste. I don't know. They both averaged 16.8 points per game, both high-scoring guards for the Mocs. So, yeah, like you said, Austin, it's a very similar matchup for Florida State. I think they'll come out more prepared than they looked on Friday, and plus, I don't think Chattanooga will be on fire like Western Carolina was.
And to your point about leading scorers, if you recognize the Matt Ryan name, he started his career at Notre Dame, spent 2 years there, and 4 career games against us, only 2 of them he played more than 3 minutes. And he scored like 9.5 points. He only had, I think, 1 rebound through both games and had 2 assists. So for a 6'8" forward to have 1 rebound in 2 games, it's kind of eye-opening. Pretty surprising. But yeah, it's going to be a very similar game. Both Chattanooga and Western Carolina in the Southern Conference, so they're familiar with each other. Yeah, it's going to be a very similar type game, but I think Florida State will be more prepared, like you said, and I don't think Chattanooga is going to come out shooting 50% from 3 in the first half.
Yeah, Chattanooga, very solid mid-major team, 3-1 to this point, but obviously they haven't played a marquee opponent like Florida State has in Florida, which I guess that's not they're not a marquee opponent anymore since they've completely dropped out of the top 25 following a loss to UConn. But yeah, recently Chattanooga beat Troy on the road 74-68, and then on Friday night they defeated South Alabama at home 90-72. So you really
their one loss is to Eastern Kentucky by a score of 11. So
on the road. So yeah, this is really a game you'd love to see Florida State handle and win between 15 and 20 points or so.
Y'all give me an update on the 2 boys from the Clippers, man. They've been all over social media, of course, yesterday.
Terrence and Schwartz, oh my God.
Yeah, those are pretty fire. We posted that on our Instagram account at Noel Game Day. Give me all those updates on Terrence Mann and Cabangeli, because we actually had Terrence Mann on our podcast a little while back. I'm going to tell y'all for the 20,000th time, but you guys should most certainly go listen to that. We had him on before he got drafted to the Clippers, but Terrence Mann was awesome. Obviously, Austin is very close with him during his time with Florida State also, but these 2 got drafted by the Clippers, and I think are going to have they're starting off their career pretty nicely. Terrence Mann has maybe an edge on Cabangeli right now, but right now these 2 are getting some playing time, which is great to see.
Yeah, as we were wrapping up our last podcast that you didn't post, Terrence Mann had started his first career game, and he has started every game since. They've had an injury to Landry Shamet, which has allowed Terrence to start, and he's played well. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think the other day he had something like 9 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds, or something like that. Just typical stat lines you're used to from Terrence Mann. Just filling the box score and doing what he does. And Cabangeli is mostly getting garbage time play right now as he develops. He's still a very raw player, even though he's selected in the first round. And the Clippers have a lot of big men available on their roster between Ivica Zubac, JaMychal Green, Montrezl Harrell, Patrick Patterson. So they've got bigs. They don't need Fiondu right now. They're going to let him develop. But what he's been in, he's looked great. I think the other night he had 10 points in like 2 minutes, which is stupid. Hopefully, as the season progresses, he'll be able to get some more playing time and be able to progress a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, you've really got to love how both of their NBA careers have started in Los Angeles, especially together. I mean, I can't even imagine how fun that must be, going from playing with each other at Florida State to now in Los Angeles on a team that's favored to win the NBA title probably. And once again, I mean, you're still teammates. So I can't imagine just how, Terrence and Fee feel about that. I saw their interview the other day, and I mean the chemistry is full go right now between those two, like it's always been.
And they're with another former Nolan, Sam Cassell, who's the assistant coach over there. And they're playing at Staples Center where they played in college. We played in the NCAA tournament there for the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 in 2018. So it's a building they're at least somewhat familiar with. I can only imagine how much fun they're having out there, though.
Yeah, but Terrence, he started the last 3 games, like you noted, Austin. Best performance so far was in the Clippers' blowout win against Atlanta. Terrence had 13 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds in 33 minutes, 75% shooting from the floor. And that was also a game where Terrence was plus 41, which, if you're not familiar with plus minus, that means when Terrence Mann was on the floor, the Clippers outscored Atlanta by 41 points. That's insane.
So I'm going to go ahead and introduce a new little quick fun segment at the end of every podcast. These guys have no clue what this is whatsoever. There's going to be 2 little quick segments here. This is going to be a trivia for FSU athletics here. They have no idea what this is, but I've been planning this. I've been planning this for a little while, but we're getting creative with it. Everybody is enjoying the podcast, so I thought we'd spice up a little bit more since football season is kind of going away, but we thought we'd bring in a new segment here. But this one is just going to be an FSU trivia, and we're going to see how well these guys know their history of Florida State. Even though we're younger, we should know some of these.
I can't wait for both of us to get this wrrong.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
We're great. We're starting off pretty simple here, maybe. So we should know this. All right, here we go. Which Seminole defender outscored FSU's first 4 opponents in the 1993 national championship season? Which Seminole defender outscored FSU's first 4 opponents in the 1993 national championship season? A big-time defender for Florida State.
The only name that comes to mind is Derek Brooks.
You're not looking this up, are you?
I'm trying to think of people that played in 1993.
Yeah, that was only 4 years before I was born.
No, I'm younger than all of y'all, just to let y'all know and let the listeners know. I shouldn't know this.
Is it someone that's been on our podcast before?
Yes.
All right, Terrell Buckley.
And Derek Brooks. Austin gets the win for first time.
Let's go.
Trivia. Man. Wow. Any interview, any things to say, Austin?
Dustin, you suck.
All right, that is
to learn more for next time, and
I think we still have more questions, or is that the only one?
That's it. There's only one question every week, so I'm gonna start going. I had to do this just because Dustin's, I think, beating all of us in the score predictions for the
He's
game.
only got me by 1 game.
I know, and I let him get me because Fisher screwed me. That friggin' Mississippi State Scott.
Shout out Mississippi for being trash.
I love you, Fisher. He knows I love him. He knows. Anyways, now the last one here, I'm just going to give you all a fun fact of the day. Just make it fun here since it's bye week. We might continue this, but here's your fun fact of the day, everybody. Babies are born with no bacteria in their bodies.
Why did we need to know that?
Why is that a fun fact?
That wasn't fun at all.
Babies are born with no bacteria in their bodies.
It's not going to make it better if you say it twice.
Can't repeat it.
Okay, I was just letting y'all know.
Thanks.
I didn't care the first time. I care even less the second time.
Well, any thoughts?
Yeah, I wish you didn't say it.
I think babies are dumb.
Okay. That right there is why we will continue this, because Dustin brings in the creative content. That's very
How's the creative?
No one's going to say that. No one's going to say that. Anyway.
I was thinking it. I just wasn't going to say it.
Okay. Well, okay. We need to move on from this. We were going to go 30 minutes, but we went
at least 48 minutes, and I'm still hungry, and I'm going to go ahead and eat dinner at 10:45. Y'all feel bad for me or no?
Nope, you did this to yourself.
Okay, perfect. Dustin, Austin, thank you guys for coming on here. Thank you guys, as always, for listening to Hear the Spear, presented by Noel Game Day. You can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play, and we're on YouTube also for you video freaks that listen to podcasts on there. Y'all are crazy and nuts. Y'all just see the same screen for like 30 minutes. I don't know how y'all do it. But if you're on YouTube, subscribe over there. We got another platform that we're thinking about going to soon, most likely in 2020, that I think you guys will be very interested in. And we actually might be recording these podcasts on over there live, maybe with webcams and everything. So I think you guys will be highly interested in that. Look out for that announcement hopefully soon. We will have our preview for the FSU versus UF preview on our podcast hopefully earlier next week. Hopefully we'll have a guest on too. I know one that is confirmed that he'll be on, but hopefully we can have a few more. So look out for that podcast. We're on Twitter at Hear the Spear. That is our official Twitter account. If you're following us Noel Game Day and you want live coverage of the coaching updates, we're at the Noel Game Day. If you're on iTunes, feel free to rate us 5 stars. It always helps a lot. And leave a review. But I think that's going to do it. Enjoy the bye week. Bye weeks usually suck, but a lot of coaching stuff is happening. We'll try to keep you guys updated as much as we can over at www.noelgameday.com. Thank you guys for listening. Hope y'all have a great rest of y'all's week, and we will talk to you guys next week on Hear the Spear.